All right, it's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our November 6th pre-council agenda meeting. If this is your first time to come to a council meeting, raise your hand. Well, welcome. Just to let y'all know how this works, our council meetings are the second Tuesday of every month, okay? And then the pre-council agenda meeting is where most of the discussion happens, and that's the Thursday before the council meeting. So most of the discussion happens tonight, and then at the council meeting is when the voting takes place. So thank y'all for being here.
The council meeting will be Monday night.
That's right. This month on Tuesday it is Veterans Day, so the city is closed on Tuesday, so our council meeting will be Monday at 5 o'clock in the same room. So thank you all for being here. We do have a full agenda, and I know we have several guests that are here to speak towards some of these agenda items. If you haven't already, if you wish to speak, please sign up next to the agenda item there at the podium with your name and address. What's that? Oh, well, I've already got it then. Okay. Well, if you didn't sign up, let us know. And so because of the agenda, it is a stacked agenda. On some items that are just going to be staff updates, I'm going to request the council to consider moving that to Monday, just to help expedite the meeting this evening. I've asked Chris Howell to lead us in our invocation and Roger Cargill to lead us in our pledge. Please stand.
Pray with me. Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for letting us all get together and try to better this city. Pray that we recognize that we're all on the same team, and although we may have different ideas about how to get there, we're all trying to get to the same place. Lord, we just thank you for blessing us, and we thank you for another day. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Call the meeting to order. First up, we have an update from the Beautification Committee. We have Marka Bennett. Marka, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And I believe you also have Dr. Burks as a co-chair of the committee.
Everybody, you want to stand on the Burks, everyone?
No, Martha is speaking and chairing.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor and City Council, for allowing us to have this little spot at the beginning of your meetings. That looks like an exciting night here. Glad so many people are here. I'm Marka Bennett, along with my co-chair, Dr. David Burks. We are the co-chairs of the Searcy Beautification Committee. And if you'll remember, just a few months ago, I was here to tell you about a project that we are proposing for the city. Since some of you may not have been here, or you may have slept since then, I want to give you just a little reminder of what we propose. Everybody who lives here, or who visits here, or who's a guest here, in any way, shape, or form, comes here for work or somewhere else, drives up and down Race Avenue. And we all know that Race is just a conglomerate, a mishmash of wonderful businesses, small and large, that have come together over the years. I looked at a plat of our city from 1934. I happen to have a copy of that at my home. And Race is right there, right in the middle. And so it's been an important part of our community for many, many years, as you know. So it has grown from just a two-lane street, now a state highway that runs all the way from I-57 all the way through our city and through our downtown. It's the only corridor we have that runs through our downtown, all the way out to Maple Avenue. So we agreed on our committee that with all the wonderful things that are taking place in Searcy, that this would be a good time for us to look at these main corridors and see if there's a way we could improve them in some way to make it just a more beautiful corridor into our town. So we all agreed that was a good thing to do. We had lots of ideas. We brainstormed for several months, had lots and lots of ideas. We're very creative people. But we realized that we did not have the expertise to put together any kind of plan that would be doable or cohesive or anything. So we invited the people from Crafton Tall, as you know well, the city planning to come to one of our meetings just to chat with us about what we could possibly do. So they came, and they had so many ideas right off the top of their heads, that I finally quit taking notes. I couldn't keep up. It was amazing what they came up with. Of course, they're very experienced with cities like ours all through Arkansas, cities who have a state highway running through their downtown, cities that have RDOT and Entergy and all the people that we would need to work with in order to make any changes on Race Avenue. So toward the end of that meeting, Dr. Burks asked Dave Roberts and Julie Kelso if they would be willing to do a vision for us, just a vision, not a detailed plan, not a working plan, just a vision for our community to consider in improving Race Avenue. They said they would, so we were very excited about that. They said we would do it for $15,000. We thought that was a really good price considering who they are and the experience that they have. We immediately began fundraising, and that's when I came and told you what we were gonna do. You all were very excited about it, very supportive, and you loved it that we were gonna raise the money ourselves. So we have done that now. We have raised all the money, and at our meeting a couple of weeks ago, we announced that we had the money in order to get this contract and get this project started, at least this very first phase. I'd like to read to you the 22 donors that we have. These are all people who are on Ray Street, either have a business or are just personally connected to that part of town and want to be a part of this. So this is alphabetical order. Arcador, B&B Oil, Bobby T's, Dr. David Burks, Centennial Bank, Charlie's Paint and Auto Body, Colton Serbon Inc., First Community Bank, First Security Bank, Ray Rowden and Sonic, Greenskeeper Garden Club, Hall's Cleaners, Harding University, Hospitality Group of Searcy, Howell Realty, Paul Maynard, Donnie Miller, Regents Bank, Rip Red, Terra & Co., Unity Health, and Young's Tire. We got some no's, and they were legitimate people who just couldn't help us this time, but were interested in the project. But we had these people who were willing to step up to the plate, write us a check, give us the money to get this contract, this part of the project going. So I know that there's a protocol, and I believe Richard will be speaking to you about that. But the beautification committee is hoping that you will approve the process and whatever the procedures are to get this contract done so that we can begin working on this. The process will be that Crafton and Tall will come, they'll bring some of their people, we'll do like a mini version of what they did for my Searcy projects, and talk with the stakeholders, talk with people who are just having interest in the project, talk with the city, everybody that they need to talk with to gather information to give us a great idea of what our Race Avenue could look like. So we feel like this will be a great project for our city for many, many years to come, and we're very excited to tell you that we are ready to rock and roll if you all are. So, David, anything else I need to add? Okay, any questions?
Mark, I'd just like to say, wow, I mean, thank y'all for getting out there, hustling, talking to the business owners and our community members and raising that money to start this process. I know that took a lot of volunteer hours, and it's just awesome to hear that list of everybody who's willing to invest. So thank y'all very much. And then, as Markham mentioned, later in the agenda, Richard will give an update on what the protocol would be in order to move forward. So any questions from the council?
I appreciate y'all. Y'all brought some ideas and some projects to A&P the other day, and that is going to have an impact on the entrance into Searcy on Main Street. And I just appreciate the work that y'all are doing.
Yeah, we're excited to do it. It's been very gratifying to be part of it. Well, I hate to leave the fun that's going to happen here tonight, but I'm going to take all of my volunteer hat and put on my grandmother hat. I'm headed out to the ballpark right now to watch my 6-year-old play the championship game.
Oh,
And thank you
Good for you.
for the improved ballpark. We have enjoyed it.
We're not far behind you, we hope.
Ms. Bennett, Dr. Burks, and all the committee, I echo exactly what my colleague said. And This started some time back, and it's just worked and built, and we've done so much. And thank you all for the work you've done.
Thank you, Mark.
Dr. Burks, did you have something?
I might just mention that one of the things that we're asking them to look at is drainage on Ray Street, which is a big issue, and sidewalks,
Yeah.
as well as beautification. So there's a lot to it. It's probably gonna take years to complete what will come out of this particular Ray Street corridor plan. It can't be done all at once. It's gonna take us getting some grants, it's gonna take some state money, some federal money, and city money, so it's gonna take time. But we think in the long run, it'll be really good for the city.
Well, thank you all for getting the ball
Thank you.
rolling. Yeah,
Thank you.
great job. Okay, item number 2, the Searcy Water Utility Audit Presentation. We've got Scotty Boggs with us this evening.
Yes, I wish forward to let everyone know how much we appreciate serving you guys and opportunity. The Searcy Board of Public Utilities typically shares a copy of our audit report that's done annually with the city, and I provided hard copies and electronic copies to the city treasurer, and I would just want to make myself available if there's any concerns or questions you might have specific to the this year's audit.
Y'all are still doing a great job, Scotty.
Thank you very much.
We
I
appreciate
echo
you a
that.
lot.
Any questions?
Keep the water coming.
Yeah,
That's going downhill.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scotty. Will, is this something that needs to move forward as far as an official vote for Monday? Okay, so we're good. All right, thank you. Item number 3, the update from Lancet and Associates on financial services. If the council's okay to move that forward to Monday, and I believe Jason's gonna cover that for us. Thank you. Item number 4, set a public hearing for private club permit application for Irena Food Services, Inc., DBA Bella's Pizza. And I believe the date requested is for the next council meeting at December 9th at 5 p.m.
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Bud Gibson on behalf of Arena Food Services Incorporated, doing business as Bella's Pizza. May it please the council, thank you for hearing us this evening. I'm joined here with Benny Shala. Again, the facility that we're asking for a permit for is what you may have referred to as the Cookie Basket. The operator has already been approved at a prior location for a similar permit. This location was previously approved for a permit. We would ask that this be set for a public hearing, and to the extent y'all have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them then or this evening.
Any questions from the council?
Move it to Monday night.
All right, thank you very much. Moving to Monday. Item number 5 is an update on the My Searcy projects. This is also one that we can move to Monday if the council so chooses. See Richard coming out.
Monday's fine.
Monday's fine.
Monday's okay? All right. Richard, you good for Monday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Then we'll move that on to Monday. Item number 6 is the request for authorization to enter into an agreement for the visioning study that we just spoke about. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, this is a project, so this will be a city project. The funds, the beautification committee went out and raised, but they came into our funds, so it'll be a city project. So we need to follow our procedures to select professional services, which would be the RFQ process. We're asking that the council selects from our pre-approved list, which is Crafton Toll is one of those one of those companies that they pre-selected. So we're just asking for authorization for the mayor to enter into that contract for the visioning study with Crafton Toll for those services.
All right, we're moving that forward. Thanks, Richard. Item number 7, discussion naming of the Searcy Community Center. Mr. Morris?
Mayor, last week when we had the committee board meeting, we had the information in front of us. It just really came to light to me that there was an effort to name a new community center, the Round. And I see on the paper today what that stands for. But for one, like a lot of y'all, we all tried our best to help get the bond issue passed. And I, in particular, worked early voting down at Carmichael Center, and just appears to me that for identification purposes, that it needs to be named the Searcy Community Center. And with that, we'll open it up for discussion.
I personally like the ramp. You know, Matt sent an email out on April the 10th, asking for, just kind of saying, hey, we've reviewed this, and does anybody have any recommendations? And me and Brett Kirkland were the only ones that responded with affirmative, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think there's been an idea that that's what it's gonna be called since that point with no opposition. And, you know, the presentation last week from Parks and Recs, I mean, they were calling it the ramp. And, you know, I think that, to differentiate ourselves from other cities and to have kind of in my opinion, a cool name for a really, really nice community center, I mean, the ramp sounds pretty good to me.
Is there a way we can get community involvement on, if they like that name? I mean, they're the ones that are helping pay for it.
Yep, sure we can.
Mr. Howe, I don't disagree. I didn't realize though, just the sending out of the email by the mayor saying it's gonna be ramp is official, okay? I don't know what ramp stands for. And I'm like Mr. Morris that, you know, we pushed the main part of the bond issue for a new community center and aquatics. And, I would much prefer Searcy Community Center. But after this discussion, we will decide whether we want to move it to Monday night to vote on.
Just for some context, the email that Mr. Howell had mentioned, we certainly wanted to make sure that we had a nod from the council before any time or money, was spent in either signage renderings, logo renderings, or whatever. So we did get feedback from 6 of the 8 council members. We had an email from Brett, Mike Challenberg, a text from Mr. Cargill, an email from Mr. Howell, and I believe phone calls from Mr. Morris and Mrs. Hale. So the only 2 that I didn't hear back from was Mr. Brewer and Mr. Rainey. There has been some elbow grease and time put into it. We do have some renderings. In your packets, I just want to mention that Jonesboro has named their athletic complex the Ridge. The reason they named it the Ridge, and they did a big reveal with this name, but that just alludes to Crowley's Ridge, so something unique to the region. So the RAMP is an acronym that stands for Recreation, Arts, Music, Park. But really what it does is it highlights the key feature design into the community center. As you all know, there's a lot of investment toward our trail system, and that trail system ramps up the side of the building and cuts right through the middle of the building. So that's a key feature, which would be a communication and marketing tool to identify Searcy's Community Center as being a unique destination, not only for locals, but for visitors as well. We reached out just to get some feedback from Reese Rowland, who is the architect on the project, and I believe his letter is in y'all's packet as well. So that may help with some of the feedback.
What day did you send it out?
That would have been
The email?
April 10th, I believe. Yeah, April 10th. And I'll just read this real quick. I know we're trying to move right along. This is from Reese Rowland, the architect on the project. Throughout the design process, we as designers have tried to create unique opportunities to market Searcy in a distinct, innovative, unique, and simple way that differentiates Searcy from surrounding cities and others of the same size in Arkansas. The thoughtful design of the entire site, highlighted in connectivity of a community through trails, parks, fields, and water, creates a fabric that unites inside and outside the buildings and experiences for all ages. All ages are welcome to play, create, meet, and enjoy. The unifying element throughout the town is the expanding trail system. One key feature is connecting that trail system through the building for bikers, runners, walkers of all ages. This ramp moves up and through the lobby, pulling outside in, putting on display a path to all of Searcy from the lobby below. while also making very visible the activities for all ages within the building. The running track, weights, courts, and exercise classrooms on one side, with children's play zone, meeting spaces, climbing wall, coffee and gifts, seating nooks, arts and crafts, and other meeting and classrooms on the other side, with a great lawn and music venue at the bottom of the ramp anchoring the park. In this one move, recreation, arts, music, and park are all on display, and a ramp can be a simple, memorable acronym for a very unique experience for marketing that helps set Searcy apart. While other towns have very well-done community centers, no one has this unique experience, and I suspect no one has such a purposeful combination of 4 different focuses that touch all age groups. The ramp will be known across the state, and the name is an important differentiator as well. It ties perfectly into the architecture and experience, which lifts expectations for a community to continue, grow, and thrive. And that was from the architect on the project. So having a unique name is certainly just a way to communicate something that's special about this project, something that's unique. And the meaning of the acronym ties directly into a feature. And even naming a community center something different is not unique in its own, as Jonesboro has just called theirs the Ridge. Any other comments from the council?
I just say, let's put it on Monday night and vote it up or down, one way or the other.
Okay.
So are we confused about what the vote would actually be?
To call it Searcy Communities.
Okay, so, all right.
Is Ms. Hale wanting to collect feedback in advance of Monday?
I mean, I don't know how we would do it that quick, but I think
That's what I'm saying.
I just
Yeah.
threw that idea out. I mean,
I
we
sort of
asked them
like
to
the
vote.
idea of maybe a contest or community involvement for the name of, submit some names and win a prize, kind of, I don't know. I neither love nor hate the ramp or Searcy Community Center. I am totally indifferent on either one of those.
I have an idea that no matter what we name it, the community's probably gonna refer to it as a community center. Because that's, everyone that talks to me asks me about the community center, where's it gonna be, what, you know, what's gonna be there and everything. They refer to it as the community center, so.
I'm perfectly fine to wait until December and get some feedback or
Yeah.
other ideas from the community.
Okay. All right, I see a few hands in the audience. So, Mr. Cortez, did you have a?
I didn't come to speak on this, but as far as the ramp part, we're dealing with something with other locations called the ramp, and they have a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of them if you search them, Texas, Kentucky, Alabama, and they're all based or built for children and all that, and if you look them up, you're not gonna like what you see. So, if you are affiliated with that name, you're not gonna like them. And again, I didn't come to speak on that, I just, the ramp is.
All right, so this is
Move it
Move until December?
And we're gonna try to
Okay.
get some community feedback.
okay. Thank you.
Mayor, I brought it up for discussion, just because I personally felt like the community center was more of a descriptive name. And likewise, since we talked about it the other night, I've had some people that contacted me, constituents that said, why are we calling it the ramp, you know? And, they felt like the community center, so that's why we brought it up. We have healthy discussion. I appreciate Mr. Howard's position on it, and, like Mr. Rainey said, get feedback and vote on it Monday night.
No, December.
December meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, and that, again, just to reiterate, that's why we tried to reach out back in April, just to make sure before we move forward.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, moving, if the council's okay, I know we have a lot of guests here, to jump to item number 20, and this is with regard to the noise ordinance. Is that okay with the council to jump to that item? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to give a nutshell, breakdown. First of all, do we have anybody here from the White County Fair Board?
Ron,
Okay, thank y'all for being here, appreciate that. I just want to thank the White County Fair Board, y'all do a fantastic job. Y'all bring fantastic events to our community of all kinds, and that really impacts the economy, it impacts quality of life, so y'all do a fantastic job, so just wanted to open with that. And to note, the city does not book the events at the fairground, just to make sure that the air is clear there. The fair board approves events that are booked at the fairgrounds, and that is county property. Also, I want to thank, I believe we have several here with the Wake the Dead event. Jonathan, is there anybody here besides you that is an organizer of that event?
Just came on.
Okay. You've had that event in Searcy for
16 years.
16 years, normally hosted out at the Searcy Event Center, okay? And then, as I'm sure most people know, the Searcy Event Center is currently under construction, being prepared for industrial development. So the event could not be held there. Last year, y'all went to Jonesboro and then brought it back, and it was hosted recently. What was the date of that? October 18th at the White County Fairgrounds. So y'all did a great job. It's a well-organized event, brings in people from all over the country. I heard you say some came all the way as far as Florida and Alaska. So, from an event standpoint, and I know that we have other people that work on events here, y'all do a fantastic, it's well-organized. Y'all bring people in from all over, so thank you for your hard work with that. So it was a great event. Of course, I would say this, I received more phone calls and texts and emails of concerned citizens. Let me describe the event. It's a car audio, right, showcase or contest, right? And so people will, I guess they're graded on their base, or I don't know what all items that they're graded on, but it's a contest and you can win trophies and that type of thing. So we received numerous calls, messages, and complaints from citizens, particularly in the River Oaks area because of the close proximity to the event. The event's what, a 12-hour event?
From
9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I would say, for the most part, the issues were related to the sustained bass. Is that safe to say, just because of the proximity of the neighborhood? And of course, there's higher volumes of music and that type of thing. So as soon as I received both concerned citizen complaints from citizens as well as council members, I just want to make it known, reached out to Judge Brown, Sheriff Miller, Chief Hernandez, Alan Quattlebaum, and Clayton Edward on the Fair Board, and our city attorney, just to say, okay, I mean, we're receiving a flood of concerned citizens complaints. I mean, it's not city property. How do we need to address the situation? And I will say that none that I talked to felt like that the event could be canceled or should be canceled, so to speak. We asked our city attorney about the noise ordinance, and we've got that in the council's packets. It's kind of a gray area, right? There's not decibel levels specified in our noise ordinance, to my knowledge. And then we also have other events around town throughout the year, and more than anything, we want to be fair and consistent, right? So I did go out there and I visited with Mr. Cortez along with our PD officers. It was around 1 o'clock or so. Spent about an hour out there. And then Mr. Challenberg came out there as well. And again, from an event standpoint, it was well run. We did ask that we make sure that no explicit lyrics were being blasted. I know that was a concern as well. And then just that particular day, weather was rolling in, right? So about 4 or 5 o'clock, we were supposed to get some severe weather. And then I listened to the investment that the participants had, that came all the way from Florida and Alaska and other places. And thought, well, we've got a few more hours before the weather hits. We're going to let this kind of rock along. However, if anybody's cranking the audio too loud, please ask them to turn it down a little bit because of the number of complaints that we had received. Long story short, weather came and went. Event was still going. I started getting more complaints around 7 or 8 o'clock. I went back out there and just said, hey, it's been a long day, for everybody. And I will say this, y'all were very professional. Y'all were very courteous, and I appreciate that. And I just said, I know that there's still some judging going on. Can we ask those that are not being judged to go ahead and turn their music down with respect to the citizens, and then let y'all go ahead and wrap up? the event, and y'all did that. And then we had a couple more officers come out till the event was concluded. So thank you for your work with that. That's the nutshell. I guess really the discussion now is open to the council on, there's a balance here, right? We have our citizens who, want to have say a peaceful atmosphere. They do live near the fairgrounds, right? So I think that's understood. I think this event is unique from other concerts because of the sustained audio base in particular. So it does make that unique. I will say this, I mean, from the city standpoint, I think that we would certainly be open to considering locations, kind of like the Searcy Event Center was, that's not right next to a neighborhood. That might be a better location as far as residence proximity goes. But I also have heard from the fair, board that they enjoyed having the event there, so there you have it. So there's noise ordinance information in your packets. It's not very clear as far as decibel levels. We did get some information from Mr. Lane that's also in your packets, and appreciate that, Mark. So some thoughts are, again, if the city's going to enforce noise ordinances pertaining to events, what does that mean? How can we be consistent? Are decibel levels going to be monitored at property lines? I mean, there's a lot of layers to this question. It's not necessarily an easy one. Okay, I'll hush. Floor is open for the council.
My only question is, how late does the music actually play? Is it till 10?
As long as we're allowed. Normally, at the event center, we were allowed at 11, but we stopped it at 10. So, I mean, they come from far and they spend thousands of dollars to get in.
And I want to
So
say,
it's
I
kinda
appreciate
hard.
you doing,
It's kind of hard to tell them not.
I understand. We appreciate you guys bringing that business into Searcy. Like you said, it's just a balance. We want to make sure that, but we do appreciate what you did.
We do the night part mainly, so they enjoy doing it at night, turn their lights on, do stuff like that. That's why they play into the night. But normally, 9, 10 o'clock would be.
Okay.
And again, like the city, I'm sorry, Mr. Rainey, the city obviously appreciates and works well with the county fair board and the county too, so we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page together. Sorry, Mr. Rainey, go ahead.
Well, we need to look at our ordinance, because the last time it was updated was 2004. Now, I live in a different ward than where River Oaks and the fair is, but I'd hear you every year. I couldn't hear what was said, but I could hear your event from the event center to my
Yeah,
house.
because you live closer than I know where you live. I'm
Okay,
Mom,
so, but-
it could be heard in that area.
Yeah, you just hear it, but residents that close is a different matter. By the same token, we've got an outstanding fair board, and I don't think a lot of people realize what kind of quality of fair and horse, display we have. I found a list of events they have, 26 from October 25 through 25 of last year through October of this year. I mean, they've already, they got 26 events on there. And I'll probably get criticized for saying this, but the fairgrounds has been there a lot longer than River Oaks. By the same token, if I lived in River Oaks and my china was rattling in my china cabinet like I heard at this time, it's like we just said, we've got to strike a balance so we can welcome you all back, but we don't disturb the River Oaks residential area. And I think it's gonna take both sides working together on it.
Mr. Cortez, I know that the fairgrounds was a great location, right? It was space,
was good.
parking.
And the thing being the first year, we could change things like the louder bass ones move towards the fence line, which there's nothing on that other side. It's something to learn, and again, I had it planned out to where it was gonna be on the back, but I was told that the individual that lives on the other side isn't a happy individual, so I took that away. I took stuff into consideration, but it's hard to do it all without actually having to be in and see it.
Knowing that that's a great accommodating location, would y'all be open to a different location?
I've looked everywhere, I've traveled, I've everybody loved it, and it wasn't a problem. The event center was also perfect.
The
Days that
racing
it-
property though is also not, a good fit because we also have just the regular car show portion that takes place in the morning. And so those competitors and those people who
Don't
like
wanna
to bring
drive their
out,
vehicles out.
they don't want to be at this, so that's just
Right.
not a good.
And the spectator side of it too, it kills us. Like, Cersei is always like, when we went to Jonesboro, we had a bigger attendance on our competitor side, it was bigger than ever, but the spectator side died. I moved there purposely thinking, hey, the students are gonna love it, it's gonna be great, they're probably hungover, so, they didn't come out in the morning. So either way, come back here, spectators are great, I mean, we filled up the parking lot, the spectator parking all day. So,
Yeah, it was well attended.
So you feel like you can make accommodations at the fairgrounds that might help with that a little bit?
I could, because I know what's like I do it at every show, like I do it, shows with Danny throughout the year, which we did that in May. I mean, did you have any complaints then? And it was in the middle of town. Did you have complaints that mattered then? Because it was the same exact thing.
Yeah, the difference is, of course, the proximity to residential.
Well, Meadow Lake's there. Do those people not care, or do those people not get hurt? The university's there.
Well,
I mean, we got Harding across the street. I mean, we have people. We got thousands. We got more people there than we do where we were.
All right, now where was this?
But we had it next to, which is now Danfoss. What's the name then?
Where is it?
Bill Eaton.
Remington.
Industrial.
Next to Cersei Auto Glass where Audio Express is.
Yeah,
We
industrial
closed the
area.
street, we did
Yeah.
it right there, but there's housing on both sides. And when we used to do it at the event center, we did it one year with the apartments open that are now there. No complaints, people walking across the street, coming and enjoying, no complaints. So we've been around residential areas, we just haven't been around that residential area.
Well,
You see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, but literally, one of the specific complaints that got my attention is that a lady said her dishes were rattling in her cabinet because of the volume. The other is the vulgarity.
That can be handled, no problem,
Okay.
no problem whatsoever.
And I just think your group and the city can work to where we can set this up to where y'all can still have a good event, and we won't bother the residential people. But it's gonna take some working together on volume level and things like that, location, where you're gonna have your big sound.
I know that there's several that signed up to speak on this agenda item, and I understand that there's gonna be some that are strongly for this, right, and keeping it at the same location, and some that are not. And just hearing the discussion thus far, is there anybody that has, I guess, feedback that has signed up to speak that may be a unique perspective that we haven't heard yet? I wanna make sure that, yes, sir, can you come to the podium and state your name?
I guess this officially makes me old, so I'm complaining about noise. And actually, if you guys don't mind, I'd rather address them, you can still hear me.
What's your name,
Sir, what's your name?
Ray Woods,
And what's your address?
14 River Ridge.
I'll talk to your, to Mark about
Yeah.
it, and Andrew White.
Yeah, so my house backs up to the fairgrounds. I mean, I'm right there. Yeah, I'm right there by the, where they have the rodeos. That's not back there. I would say, what do you guys say, probably 50 events a year, 50 days a year, something at the fairgrounds, possibly. Alright, so I've been there 13 years, roughly that's 650 events, and I love living behind the fairgrounds. I mean, I can't even tell you, my kids love it, we love the fair, we love the rodeos, they had a circus, and we love it, we can see it from my back deck. I think one time we had the monster trucks, and I can see it all for free. So, I mean, I love it. And we've had concerts. We've had a Christian concert that was at 6 o'clock in the morning, all right? Other than the fact that it woke me up at 6, all right, whatever. It was great. So we've had, 650 events, and we've never had an issue. The city is, I know the same way, but we love having fairgrounds here. But it was so loud for daughter's birthday party, to the other side where my in-laws live. But it was just so loud that you can't hear yourself. And it's a different kind of loud, guys. It's not, you can have a concert, I mean, the decibel level of a concert and this, it's not the same. So, you know, I mean, and I mean, I know you guys enjoyed it, and I know you loved it, and you may have it again there next year, I don't know. But I just want you to understand, yes, I know what I signed up for, building right behind the fairgrounds. I mean, I know. But at the same time, I think there's gotta be some guardrails. That's all I'm asking for. Somebody had a great idea, and we got some fair board members, but, you know, maybe having somebody from River Oaks on the fair board. I don't know whose idea that was, maybe yours, but, I would recommend Butch Carter. Everybody in White County know Butch.
Fill out a resume and send it to us and we'll consider it.
Okay.
We have a nomination committee.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and that's fine. I got no idea what all that stuff is, but, and the fair's been awesome to me and my family. I love it, and I hate it that, you know, it's, yeah, we've got some neighborhoods there, and we've got some issues there, but I just want you guys to understand that it's just loud for 13 straight hours, and it's not the kind of music that's being played. Matter of fact, it was so loud, I don't even know what music it was, because it was just one constant boom for 13 hours.
Mr. Woods, thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate your comments
All
very
right, thank
much.
you.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Can I ask,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore, what, you got any ideas about revising our ordinance?
I've struck it out. I've been striking out for 3 weeks since all this went down. I'm compelled that, you know, I think you said it earlier, the Fair Board and the city and the event working together to try to establish some rules that can kind of make everybody better. That's not ordinance related, but anything we write in the ordinance, I suspect when the champion of the event cranks it up, it's going to violate the ordinance. So, I think the best thing to do would be for all the parties to get involved together. We've got 12 months to kind of figure out what that could look like. So that's the best advice I've come up with.
Mr. Morris, did you have something?
Well, I was just simply gonna say, and I think there's other people that have signed up to speak, and I don't wanna jump ahead of them. Mr. Rainey said a lot of what I was wanting to say. My seatmate, Mr. Kirkman, is out of town and could not be here tonight. He asked me to speak on his behalf also. He and I represent Ward 1, and Ward 1 runs all the way from the east end of town across the northern tier of town to the very western part of the town. I live in the western part of the ward. Mr. Kirkman lives over in River Oaks in the eastern part. But I understand the balance. I appreciate what the Fair Board does. I myself am a former president of the Fair Association, so I worked with the Fair for many, many years. It's kind of like a triangle, so to speak. As the mayor said, the county owns the property. It's inside the city limits. Fair Association has a long-term lease on the property. So we've all got to work together, as Mr. Rainey said. But I'm gonna be very blunt, and I know Mr. Cortez, he called me, we had a good discussion, I believe it was yesterday morning. I've known him for a number of years, I ate at his restaurant. But to be very blunt, and I think y'all that know me know I shoot from the hip. In all my 50 years of public service, serving as county judge, mayor of the city of Searcy, and now on the city council, I have never had as many calls, text messages, emails as I had during that day. And I had people telling me the same thing that Mr. Rainey said. China was shaking in their China cabinets, their windows were rattling, things of that nature. I even had one couple tell me they were going to go out of town and get a hotel room for the rest of the day because they could not take the noise. Now, Mr. Cortez, I'm not doubting what you said about shutting it off at 10, but I have been told by people that I have good confidence in that live in River Oaks that it went to about 10:30, 10:28, something like that. I'm I'm not gonna get in an argument with you.
No, I'm just saying, they know what time we left, so I mean.
I've been
it's not a
told, I've
big
been
deal.
told that.
Cersei PD was there, or the sheriffs were there, so they
Yeah.
know.
You
Mr.
hear,
Cortez.
you hear everything, and I've been
Yeah.
told that, and I have to have confidence in the person that told me that. But anyway, we have got to come up with some solution, because the people that we represent, that live around in that area, they were furious that day. And, like I said, I spent the almost entire day responding to emails, text messages, returning phone calls. I know that I signed up for this job. I realize that, and I take that at heart. It was also the opening day of alternative firearm deer season. I, myself, and my family were trying to deer hunt that day. About 11 o'clock that day, I gave up, and I went back to our camper trailer and spent most of the day back and simply returning emails, phone calls, things of that nature. What I'm saying is, to make a point, Mayor, there's a lot of people were very concerned about the noise level, the disturbance, things of that nature. So with all that being said, with all respect to the Fair Association, all respect to the county and to the city, and to the people that put the event on, and all the participants that came from all across the state and apparently various other places across the nation. I even had one gentleman tell me he personally talked to some people that were here from Florida that came for it. So with all disrespect, all respect, brother, for all of these people that are involved in this, and no disrespect, we have got to work together, because there again, the people of River Oaks, the people that live in that area were very much inconvenienced that day. And so, you've got to look at the public's good compared to the private good it is. When I say the private, I'm talking about the participants, I'm talking about the organizers, I'm talking about the other people that were involved in it. So we've got to work together to come up with some kind of a solution. Mr. Cortez, you agreed yesterday on the phone that you would be willing to work with us in that. Is that correct?
Depending on what's agreed, yes, to a point, obviously.
I would like to make a comment too, if I may.
Mayor, I'll reserve any other comments till later, but I simply wanted to simply say that representing the people that Mr. Kirkland and I represent, the people in Ward 1, we've heard a tremendous amount of complaints on this issue. And both of us understand all sides of it, but we need to work with some kind of a balance.
Thank
I
you,
feel
Ms.
like we
Morris.
can surely come up to some resolution to benefit all of us.
I have a paper here with River Oaks residents that live in River Oaks with nothing but good comments, if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Their
Well,
names.
just hand them to our city attorney if you don't mind. Mr.
It's
Brewer?
not everybody,
Yeah.
obviously.
Mr. Brewer, did you have something?
Yes, I did. I also had quite a few phone calls from residents of River Oaks. Two of them, the music or whatever that noise was overpowering their voice. And on both of those, they said, listen to this. And I just listened, and I could hear this, and both of them were saying that their front doors, storm doors, rattling loudly. And so, it is a serious thing. I also know someone that had to leave their property and go somewhere else for the day and night. Other people had children that they told me they were very much offended by the words in some of that music. But we need to do something. We cannot subject our residents to something like that even once, let alone annually. So I'm a firm believer we need to do something
Would it be
to
okay?
resolve this situation.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Would it be okay, members of the Fair Board, and if we can get together, coordinate a day and time, let's get our heads together and talk through the event and see what we can.
Say one thing on behalf of the Fair Board.
Yes, sir.
I know you all spoke about gave us commendations for what we do at the fair. We appreciate that, means a lot. We try to do our best out there. We're an all volunteer group. Everybody volunteers their time, their money, their efforts. We as a Fair Board rely on rentals throughout the year to keep our fair afloat. What we make during Fair Week will not come close to paying the bills that it takes to operate the facility. I don't know how many of you came to the fair facility that the city, the residents, everybody can be proud of and utilize. I don't have a dog in the hunt as far as the show, Mr. Cortez's audio show. What I do have a dog in the hunt about is when we start limiting what we as a fair board can host, it starts cutting into our revenue source to try to keep the facility open. We were shut down several years ago for motorsports events. The city used an ordinance from 1970s about discharging unmuffled exhaust from steam engines or compression engines into the atmosphere. So that stopped, that ceased everything down there other than 3 days out of the year during Fair Week, which we worked out and we are exempted for. We have opportunities all the time to do motorsports events, but we don't. We try to be good neighbors. We were asked not to, so that's what we did. We just don't want to be handcuffed. The fairgrounds was put there in 1953. River Oaks was still just a grown-up swamp at that one time. Now, I understand these people bought property, they built nice homes, beautiful homes, wonderful neighborhood. But I'm going to echo what everybody's already said. We're going to have to work to find some sort of balance, whether it's the Wake the Dead show, or whether it's motorsports events, or whether it's rodeos that run late. We've had complaints about, we've lowered the speakers, turned the speakers down, tried to be cordial to the participants. We want to work to make it happen. So I appreciate everybody. I just wanted to let you know our perspective on it.
Yeah, appreciate that and understand that as well. Thank you. All right, thank you. I know we've got several others that have signed up to speak. I know we've got a lot of time in here right now. We've got several other agenda items to get to. Is there anybody else here that wants to come forward? I don't want you to feel like you didn't have a chance. Okay, Miss Angela?
I'll just try to keep this brief. I live in River Oaks at 9 Green Meadow Drive. Lived there for 15 years. Love the fair, truly. I love hearing the rodeo. I love hearing the horses and the fairground noise. And so for 15 years, we've loved it. But on October 18th, from 9 a.m. until about 10:40 or 10:50, I thought I was hearing like phantom sounds. And my daughter texted me like, "Mom, it's still going on." I'm like, "I think I'm hearing it too." So my chest rattled, my windows rattled, my doors rattled. And I stepped outside about between 9 and 10. Within a minute, heard profanity from my porch. Called Searcy PD. The lady at dispatch said that she also could hear noise at the police station. So it wasn't just River Oaks. They could hear it at the station, probably the deep base. I stood outside for an hour just listening. I have videos inside my home. There was no one home that day, and as a mom of 3 kids, I really like a day at home by myself, and wasn't able to really get it that day because of all the noise. So I don't want to I love our city and I love what it stands for in bringing in revenue, so I love that fact. But I think just a respectfulness that when your chest is rattling, when the bass is going from 9 a.m. until after 10 p.m., it's hard. It's hard to have a day at home. If we had had plans to have an outdoor event, we wouldn't have been able to. Even inside, it was just a lot. So I'm very thankful for what the city does, but just wanted to say it was really hard on me that day. It was hard on my neighbors. I went to a few neighbors and talked to them. Some of them had like inner ear issues, and she was struggling with that. So I think it's just to find a way to be respectful, to host an event in an area that may not be affected by residents and such.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, anyone else? Yes, ma'am? Can you say your name, please?
Yes, my name is Charlene Frizzell. I live at 2310 Nassau Lane. I can see the fairgrounds through my back windows. I can see the rides at night during the fair. I love the fairgrounds. I'm really tight with the folks that work out there. I would like to know, what did the A&P Commission do to promote this event happening? And that it was going to be a day of noise, a day of bass. And if you didn't want to be affected by it, maybe make other plans. I mean, I thought so much as maybe hiring a couple of motor coaches and say, hey, let's go to Memphis to the zoo, spend the day over in Memphis at the zoo. Have we considered possibly having the event at the Searcy Airport?
Well, I think that's something that we'll be discussing with both the event organizer as well as the fairgrounds, as far as what options.
And from the A&P's commission, we love the fact that you guys brought people into town. That's not an issue, that is not an issue. The issue is the impact you had on neighbors. That's the issue. So, you know, the A&P is happy that you brought people to town, but we have to be cognizant of the impact you're having on neighbors and how that is impacting their families, their houses, where they live. I mean, look, if somebody was down the street from me doing that, I would be ticked off too, okay? That's just about, all of us would. If you don't like that type thing, or that you weren't expecting it that day. So just keep that in mind whenever you're looking at this issue, that the city wants you here. We just want to figure out a way so that everybody can live together peacefully. You can turn it up as loud. The name of your event is Wake the Dead. Okay? I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a loud event. Okay? So let's all work together. And I'm imploring all of you that are here supporting it. We want you here, but we all need to work together to figure out a solution that works for everybody.
Okay. I also like to challenge people when this event does happen again, where it happens again, to come and visit it. It's absolutely fascinating. I learned so much. I don't ever care to put a woofer in the back of my car. I know what they do and why they do it. And you get to meet people from all over the nation. I counted 21 states. You counted 24 states.
And that's why we wanted to open up and say it was a well-run event. Y'all did a fantastic job putting it on and marketing it and getting people here. We just have to find the balance of also the citizens that it affects. So thank you very
My
much.
closing comments, I think we just need to do a little more in informing the public that this is coming. Be prepared, either make other arrangements or come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Crabtree?
I'm Dr. Crabtree. I know nearly every person here. I know nearly every one of you guys. I mean, I've never buddies with everybody here. I'll let you know that my property adjoins as close as anybody here to the fairground, okay?
You live right on the hill.
I own one of the biggest lots over there, and it adjoins half the fairground, okay? Never had a problem with anything that they do, other than the fact when they racing mobile monster trucks over there. Every one of you also know I'm one of the biggest rednecks in this room, even though I've got a doctorate degree. I love monster trucks. I love open heavens. The problem is, how often are we going to do it? Are we going to start doing it twice a month, 3 times a month to make the fair board more money? Because that's where it was going. So yes, I did. I'm the one who brought the complaint about that. He was the mayor at the time. And we explained to them what was going on. We brought the chief of police to my house. He heard what was going on, and he was like, this is ridiculous. He's like, if they want to do it during Fair Week, that's fine. Outside of Fair Week, it's like we got to have some kind of restrictions of how often this is going to go on. I understand your event was a one-time-a-year thing. I also get that. But here's the deal. The bottom line to the whole thing is, if you've got a Searcy noise ordinance, what's the point of having a noise ordinance if we're not going to follow it? That's the bottom line. If you got a noise ordinance, follow it. Otherwise, this is a case of secondhand smoke. Can you smoke cigarettes in any restaurant in this town? I don't know of any other restaurants you can smoke cigarettes in this town. You know why? Because Mr. Morse doesn't smoke. Mr. Faulkner does not smoke. Mr. Philbert does not smoke, and he don't want to smell smoke. And it goes the same for any type of a noise situation. My thing from that was bothering me the most, it wasn't necessarily me because I used to have a big car stereo. I used to have one of my own self. But my thing was, there's an old folks home within 250 yards of that. I went over there and shot it with a rangefinder. And you got how many residents of an old folks home that are in there with defibrillators? And
Did you know that a hard enough bass boom can affect a person's defibrillator? It sure can. Anybody in here would know that. It can affect someone's health. My wife, she doesn't have headaches. She had a headache for 3 days after that because it was the bass situation. Now, there's several of you people are all on the same level that we are, but what I would make a recommendation of to solve the problem is let's set a decibel level of what the noise ordinance is, whatever that number may be that we come up with. I don't even know, I'd have to look up decibel level. What's a gunshot, 120 decibels? If it's 60 decibels, 70 decibels, whatever the decibels is, and let's implement it, and then if you come over there and read and pull out the decibel level, if it's above that, then that's a no-go. It's not hard to fix the problem. If you're gonna have a noise ordinance, enforce it. Otherwise, don't have one, and then they can just open anywhere up in town, anytime that they want to have any, they can have an airplane jet engine show, or a gun show, or a rocket engine show. I mean, why not? If we're not gonna implement what we have on the books. I don't mean to be passionate about it, but I hear a lot of this kind of tiptoeing around the topic, and the bottom line is, if you got a noise ordinance, let's either just throw it out the window, or let's enforce it. That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Mr. Crabtree.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Everybody else good? Mr. Cortez, I think we've heard
I
enough.
was gonna say one more thing. I was gonna say, just so you take this into account. When you put a noise ordinance, you're putting it on everything. And I will tell
We
you,
understand.
our event, and I know because I do this for a living, the noise ordinance from a concert at Get Down Downtown or the 4th of July is a lot louder than what we do. So just do your research before you open that can.
We understand.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, thank you. All right, good discussion. Thank you all for being here. I know there's a couple others that were on this list. Again, are y'all good to move on? Those that signed up, I think we've had good discussion.
So the
So
city,
what
the
is the plan
county,
moving forward? I'm sorry.
the city, the county, and Mr. Cortez will have some sort of meeting to
That's
try
right.
to
Plan.
work together.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you all. If you're here for this particular agenda item, don't feel like you need to stay. So we'll pause for like 10 seconds if you would like to leave, and then we're gonna keep going. Thank you all very much.
Okay, ready?
It's gonna be a lot easier to have a meeting with the three representatives.
Okay, we're gonna keep rolling. We're gonna keep going. Thank y'all. Item number 8 is a discussion, Parks and Recreation consultant presentation. I know we have Derek here and Mike Parsons.
So we presented to you all the other week, which we use the word ramp a lot in that discussion, but we wanted to start doing an update like Richard does in my Cersei updates. We wanted to update you all with what Derek has going on with him and myself and Mayor, Richard, and our design team. So you got most of it at the meeting of the whole, and so what we have, which you should have in your packets, is our schedule of what we're gonna be working on, what we've completed, what we plan on having to you, and when. So what I'm gonna do right now is, so every month you'll see Derek up here, we'll give you an update of what's going on. So I'm gonna kinda hand it over to him, let him kinda tell you what we've done so far, what we're currently working on, and what you can expect and when.
Yeah, so basically, this is very similar to what we presented, I guess, several months ago. There are a few alterations, but just real to kind of recap, what we've done so far is the very first thing we did is we basically took a look at his current staff. You had some turnover at that point in time with a couple of employees that were retiring. It just seemed like an appropriate time just to take a look at those positions to make sure that whatever we did with those positions best positioned us for the future. And then after that, we spent a bulk of time basically looking at future staff. And in my opinion, that's the lion's share of the most important thing really. That's usually your biggest expense, but also too, it's the most important piece to get right. And that's what we've been doing. And then also too, we took a couple of months to basically look at a software provider for all of y'all's reservation system. I think that there was some money that was already allocated for that, so we wanted to make sure that that got taken care of this year. As far as what we're working on right now, we've moved over to fee rates, and also revenue. But I think the plan still stands. I think it was part of the original plan schedule, and it still stands to be back in front of y'all in Q1 of next year with kind of a complete package. So that'll have all of your staffing, but then also additional expenses, utilities, and ongoing maintenance, but then also to maybe fee rates and some projected revenues.
That's kind of it in a nutshell. If anyone has any questions, we'll try to answer.
Appreciate the outline.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that's
Thanks for breaking that down for us.
Yeah, and if this changes, we'll let you know every time it does. I would like to say, here's what I'm saying. So a lot of you don't see Derek. I know Richard and Mayor, y'all see him all the time at all our meetings, but I mean, his skill set's been great. Everything that was promised on the contract that we signed for him, he has been nailing heads on. I mean, we have access to him anytime we want. He attends any meeting we ask him to come. He comes from Conway anytime we ask. He has another job. He will put that aside, come help us. And pretty much bottom line is, he's been our missing piece we've been needing to complete this project, and he's worth every penny that y'all have given me to pay him. So I just want to say thank you, Derek, and thank y'all for letting us use that.
Thank you for your work, Derek. It's an important time for us, for sure. Thanks, Mike. Any other questions from the council? All right, thank you. Then, Mike, you're still up. Discussion on the Berry Hill Storage Building.
Okay, so this all started back when youth tennis was using the concession stand at Berry Hill for storage, as well as maintenance was using it for storage also. It was brought up at the time that tennis would like, we started using the concession stand, so things had to move. So there's no place to put maintenance equipment, daily stuff to clean the courts. There was no place for the tennis association to store the rackets, the ball machines, extra nets, things of that nature. So then the discussion came up, well, can we get a storage building somewhere out here with the whole project that's going on? You all got those numbers the other week. They're high. So we got, some of us got talking. I don't think he made it. No, but I know he wanted to come up here and talk, but Mr. Webb and I have been having lots of discussion, and he is ready to help take this project on, but I'll keep it short and sweet. We've been talking, and we would like to ask your blessing to let me and Jeff kind of head this on. Let's do this project in-house. At least let us get you some prices to how much it would cost to build this in-house, and then get your blessing from there and go, hopefully get this done and save a lot of money in the process.
I think that's a good idea, because that original storage building, a storage building, $444 per square foot. You can build any house in town for that, and it fully furnish it, but, that's high for a storage building.
Jeff priced a brick alone from a bricklayer, and just once we got the structure, the slab and everything up, the brick would be 11,000. So I mean, it's doable.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking it on.
Yeah, I'm happy with you and Jeff
Yeah.
to get us some numbers, okay?
Yes, sir. Y'all are, yes, sir.
Not trying to cast dispersions.
Sure.
The football concession stand was done kind of that way a few years ago.
Yes, sir.
Is the reorganization we've done going to provide enough resources, I guess, to make this better? Now, that's more complicated than you're talking about.
Correct, and we could use certain contractors to do certain things like the roof or the bricklaying, and so that's why we want to be able to get a list of numbers together, how much it would cost for these different contractors to come on and help, and present it to you all, and see if that's something you'd be interested in moving forward with money-wise.
Could you,
Sounds great.
you could have that for us for the December meeting?
Sure, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir.
So that doesn't need to move forward. That's, I guess, a verbal okay for them to go ahead. All right, thank you all. Item number 10 and 11, I've asked Mark if we can move that to Monday. Is the council okay with moving those two forward?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 12, discussion donation deed from the Martha D. McKnight Lifetime Q-Tip Trust. Mr. Rainey?
I do not remember when the council discussed accepting the donation from McKnight that it would have the terminology in there that if the city didn't do something within 5 years, it would vest in Forward Cersei, Inc. How did that get in there, Mr. Moore?
The person who was given the free property to the city said that. We talked about it in the spring at 2 consecutive city council.
We didn't talk about this phrase. I would have remembered that.
I don't know that until they told me they wanted to give the property to the city that I knew that phrase.
I never saw that or heard that either.
I mean, I understand if the McKnights wanted to have that condition, but that should come back to us before we agree to accept the property. Now, I'm saying all that to say this, as long as we can get something done in 5 years and satisfy this, I'm okay with it. But once we get something done within 5 years, can you get that phrase removed from the deed?
Yeah, and I've got the property surveyed, I've run title on the property, and I've confirmed with the title company that the vesting language was appropriate, and so I'm perfectly confident, and the property is part of the grant program that we've submitted for Bike Trail on. So there's not gonna be any challenge for that.
My main point is though, we weren't told this. It should have been disclosed to the council before we agreed to accept the donation. The terms of the donation should have been approved by the council.
But were they, okay. I was under the impression that at one of the 2 council meetings that we had talked about, I'm confident we said a nonprofit that they're choosing. I'm confident we said 5 years, and I'm confident we said upon completion of the bike trails.
Any of y'all remember this?
I don't remember that wording.
Mr. Morris?
My question is, the terminology develops the property as part of a bike trail network within 5 years. What is the definition of developing the property as part of a bike trail network?
Like I said in the spring, I specifically remember saying this is a low bar to clear. The person who's given 30-something acres to the city for free has just asked that we could build some bike trails. They said it could be, we talked about doing it, Richard talked about us doing it internally at one point when we discussed that. And it is part of the master plan that's been submitted as part of the grant to the, what grant is it called? Arkansas State Parks.
I was gonna ask Mr. Parsons, he's no longer here, but, Mr. Stafford or Mr. Bourne, does not the bike trail run right by this property?
The bike trail is the northern boundary of the property they gave to the
So,
city.
so what will it take then to meet that definition that develops the property?
When we get the grant and do the projects, it will answer the question.
Build 2.5 miles of bike trail within the property.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. Okay, so there's nothing to move forward with this? Is that accurate? Okay, thank you. Item number 13, request for funds to replace a PD vehicle.
Move it forward.
Thank you. Item number 14, a resolution for a recycling grant. This is similar to years past.
Move it forward.
Thank you. Number 15, a resolution disposal of airport assets.
Move forward.
Thank you. That list is in your packet. Item number 16, resolution for lien certified to the tax collector against certain properties. Yes, sir.
No, I want to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. In Cersei as a result of grass cutting expense and abatement of other nuisances. Okay, Mr. Carswell.
Yeah, can I ask a couple of questions? And I guess I sound like a broken record, Ken, because I asked this last month, I think. The 2 properties that seem to always show up are the hotel and Coast to Coast. Can you give me an update on what's going on with both of those? I drove by the hotel, I don't drive by that hotel spot much, but I drove by it. It looks a little sketchy. And I drive by Coast to Coast every day, and it's been looking sketchy for about 12 years. So
Ken and I sent information on the hotel to Petty Law Firm, who represents the owner of the hotel.
we can solve the problem. We can proceed to have the building torn down and place a lien on the lot, subsequently foreclose on the lot if need be. I can't imagine the tear down of that property exceeding the value of the land it's sitting on. So, again, this is, you know, everybody knows, this has been going on for years upon years. And it's time to act. I mean, right? I mean, anybody?
I agree, I agree.
It's getting worse.
Are you talking about coast to coast
Yeah.
or the hotel?
Coast to
or
coast,
both?
I'm sorry, yes, coast to coast, yeah. Because, I mean, this is, what'd you say, the fourth time?
Yeah, I mean, I'd
So-
say we need to move on it.
But back in, when I first got on the council, Jeff would give these reports about the same building, and that was going on 6 years
So
ago.
then I would suggest that the council have, that the condition is not improved, they have an active case. I would suggest that Mr. Shoemaker cite them again, set the property for hearing, we have a public hearing, and you formally condemn the property upon giving them notice. And then I'd also suggest that you authorize the city engineer or whomever to solicit bids on what deconstruction of the building costs, because that's going to be an important.
We haven't condemned it at this point?
Well, you have, but we've got a standing, you condemn many properties that you then haven't gone and knocked down. I can think of multiple times we've said that before, that you're declaring your rights over the property, but you're not knocking it down. And then before you knock it down, that you would present to have a public hearing and provide notice to them that you're taking that action. And that's what we've done with the last 5 properties we've condemned. You condemned them, but you have not knocked them down. And so now you're suggesting to actually take them, so I think you should provide notice that you're gonna do that.
You know, I really think we're doing them a favor, right? By taking this property down. I mean, it's going to fall down.
I don't know if they, yes, I don't know. I don't know. They're, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Morris?
I was just gonna say, it's been several months, seems like to me, when Mr. Person came and stood before us and asked for just a little bit more time.
He's come to district court on behalf of his mother who has failed to appear 4 times. And he's told us he had it sold 4 times, and he does not, and he never does. And there are people actively trying to buy it right now. There are people that have taken a check and said, I want to buy it, and he will not sell it.
Oh, then we need to do what Mr. Moore recommended, and we need to move on, get it taken care of.
All right, thank you. Item number 17 is a resolution, termination of restrictive covenants on the recently acquired South Main property. That's in your packet. We all right to move that forward? Okay, thank you. Item number 18 is an ordinance removing regulation of territorial jurisdiction and providing regulation for road and street paving. Mr. Stafford, this came from Planning Commission.
Yes, these are the next 2 are ordinances. One is to amend the land development subdivision regulations, and the other is the zoning code. First, item 18 is a regulation or an ordinance that will remove any language having to do with extraterritorial jurisdiction. If you may remember, the state legislature passed, we cannot regulate outside of the city limits. So that's Act 314. So this ordinance will remove any language regarding extraterritorial jurisdiction. Section 3 of the ordinance also makes another change regarding paving. This change would require that any public street, whether it's dedicated to the city for maintenance or if it's a public street by easement, has to follow our paving standards. So it has to be paved no matter what. There's some question on streets that aren't dedicated to the public for maintenance that could still be gravel. So that was what the discussion came from planning and growth and onto the planning commission. So what this regulation would do is say any public street, whether it's dedicated to the city, accepted for maintenance, or if it's a public, or if it's a street that has an easement that's dedicated to the public for access, both of those scenarios have to be paved and follow
Is that only streets dedicated to the public?
No, so it's dedicated, yes, only streets dedicated.
The reason I'm
sorry,
asking, there are streets out there that the city has an easement over that may or may not be dedicated. I wanna make sure those streets are not included.
An easement that's, yes, and so the easement would have to say it has to be dedicated to the public. So it doesn't have to be dedicated to the city for maintenance as a right of way. It could still be an easement, but that easement language needs to say that it's been dedicated to the public.
And that type has to be paved?
Yes, that's what this regulation would require.
I've got, the Searcy Water has a pump station by my house. They have an easement through my property, part of it paved, part of it not.
Right.
I wanna make sure that the part that's not isn't included in this ordinance.
And if it was to the water, it would only be to that system for access to that pump station.
There are scenarios where an easement is granted for a certain lot owner, a certain property owner. That would not fall into this condition. It would be the easements that are dedicated to the public. So basically a multi-lot subdivision. This came from that plat a few months ago. There was a gravel drive. They were subdividing it into multiple lots. It was by all definition an easement dedicated to the public to access all of those lots.
I just want to be able to sleep tonight.
So that was the recommendation that we feel like the planning and growth and commission, we felt like, if it's dedicated to the public, whether we're maintaining or not, because Mark will probably tell you that eventually at some point in time, we're gonna be maintenance in it, that it should follow our design standards. So that's what that is.
Mr. Schellenberg?
I may have misheard. I didn't hear anything about redoing any existing easements, did I? Rewording them somehow?
No,
Okay, good.
this would be like
If it's a new easement.
That's right.
Okay.
Anything that says an easement, if it says it's dedicated to the public, a road that's dedicated to the public, we would require it.
Okay.
Mr. Stafford, this was voted unanimously by the planning commission?
Correct.
Okay.
The second one is a change to the zoning code. Two things on it as well. The first deals with accessory dwelling units. This is another response to another state legislature action, Act 313. Act 313 makes every municipality has to allow accessory dwelling units in some form or capacity. We actually had regulations on allowing accessory dwelling units. We over-regulated according to what this Act 313 was saying. So basically, we're just rewording it to match and mirror what the state says that we can and can't regulate according to accessory dwelling units. So we do still allow them. We're just following what the state says the match and regulate them to. The second one has to do with, in section 3, has to do with residential ornamental fences was the main change. And I just want to point out, Mr. Barnes here, Mr. Roy Barnes came to my office. He lives in River Oaks, and he had the idea of wanting to put a small ornamental residential fence along the front of his property. By our code, that's not allowed. Our code says that you can't put a fence out in front of your house. And so Mr. Barnes we've had great conversations with Mr. Barnes since then. He wanted to be part of a solution to a problem instead of just complain or try to get around a code. And so he did some of his own research, found some other cities that had language in there that talked about residential ornamental fences and height restrictions and visibility through them and all of that. And so I compiled what Mr. Barnes gave me. We took it to the Planning and Growth Transportation Committee. Mr. Barnes came and presented there too, and we then took it to the Planning Commission, held a public hearing on it, and it was passed at the Planning Commission. But I just want to commend Mr. Barnes for the steps that he's taken just to this far. It was nice to have somebody just come in and see a problem and want to work through a solution, and came and we had a great visit together. So yeah, so that's what this one is. It allows us to have basically decorative, it kind of limits the type of fence that it can be, it limits the height of the fence it can be, visibility through the fence, it has to be a certain type of fence, so I mean, everybody's mind, it's a little decorative fence.
White picket fence?
You can do white picket fence, yes, sir, out in your front yard. So,
Thank you, Mr. Barnes, for your hard work toward this and your collaboration with the city. Is it all right with the council to move both items 18 and 19 forward to Monday?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Item number 20 has already been discussed previously. Item 21 is an ordinance, the splitting.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
One thing I want to say, Mr. Moore, I want to look at that a little bit more, but I would prefer not to put the salary amount of the clerk in the ordinance, because that's probably going to change every year. Okay? So, but I want to look at it a little bit more.
You have to make it public, because people, when they file in July of
I
2026.
understand that we would do that in a funding ordinance that says we're going to pay the clerk this much.
But you won't have your 27 budget adopted for that.
But if we put it in the ordinance, we're gonna have to amend the ordinance every year when we give him or her a raise.
Could we say a
Yeah,
minimum
or as
of?
amended, from coming at as amended. But when you adopt this ordinance, you're not gonna have a funding mechanism in place for the split of the duties, because you won't have the 27 budget. Because this would get adopted in the next few months.
Well, since we're splitting the duties though, I feel like the council needs to evaluate what we're gonna pay and not just put in there what we've been paying the clerk treasurer. One of my points.
Yeah, that's why it's blank, and I don't recommend that it be voted on now, because after you get through the 26 budget process, as you look to 27, you gotta make a decision as to what the clerk split from the treasurer is going to compensate. You don't have to put it in the ordinance, you just, before, people have to be made aware in some form or fashion what the compensation will be before they file a run for the office in July 2026.
So are you suggesting we don't pass the ordinance yet, or we pass it with a blank?
No, I mean, six of one, half dozen of another, you've gotta do both before July. But
Yeah.
I'm just, we can wait, and we can file into another ordinance in June that tells people how much it's gonna be. But sometime before you've adopted a budget that has the clerk as a separate department, you're going to have to make a declaration as to what the compensation is.
Mayor,
Sir.
Mr. Moore, it looks like the ordinance is a little bit contradictory, but in section 2, you said that, it states that the clerk shall be paid a salary of blank per year performing duties. Then down in section number 5, it says a salary for a appointed position of city treasurer shall be by separate ordinance. I understand the difference between the elected position and the appointed position, but salaries for every city employee is a matter of public record. So I kind of tend to agree with Mr. Rainey. If we put it in the ordinance, then we're gonna have to amend that ordinance every 2 years is what I would think. Is that not what y'all are thinking?
First and foremost, this was a draft. This is the first pass of this. I wanted to get y'all to talk about it. Second, I guess the presumption made right there is that the clerk treasurer, as it sits today, you would be removing clerk and would be leaving the clerk treasurer department as the treasurer department, and the compensation for the individual who's appointed treasurer would keep that same compensation. So that was an assumption on my part, but that's why it's drafted that way. You can, like I said, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Do we want to split clerk treasurer? If yes, then we need to pass an ordinance. We don't have to put a number in there, but we got to before next summer.
We can do the latter.
Yeah, because it probably changed anyway.
But I'm not ready to vote on it Monday. Let's kick it down one more month.
Okay. All right, thank you. Item number 22 is also an ordinance. This is the year-end bonus payment. So the proposal would be, is Kim still here? Yeah. Kim, just correct me if I say this incorrectly, but $1,000 for full-time personnel, $500 for part-time personnel. If they have worked for the city 6 months or less, then that would be prorated to half of that amount. So that would be $500 for full-time and then $250 for part-time. Is that accurate? And then that amount, I believe, is in your packet, correct? The total amount.
I didn't prepare the packet, but I just said, yes.
Mayor,
Sir?
does it say when the bonus will be paid? I haven't seen it yet.
We were looking at next payday, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Okay.
So that would precede Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
Right.
But
Motion to move that forward, thank you. Item number 23 is a budget adjustment ordinance.
Move it forward.
Thank you. And then item 24, a discussion on the 2026 budget. Is it okay with the council if we kick that to Monday as well?
Move it, Monday, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, that is, yes, sir.
I had one document I just stumbled across in my packet, and I guess it was hiding from me, but I want to make sure all the council takes note, didn't get discussed there when we talked about the noise level with the, being out at the fairgrounds, but our city engineer has written a document that I found very interesting on, decibel levels, meters, things of that nature, so I encourage everybody to find it and read it. Mr. Lane, very good document, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for providing that. All right, thank you all so much for being here. We are adjourned.